Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back in. Welcome back into the Tez Down. Um, I don't know, man. There's there's people in here that have been in the show for the last couple of minutes, and I don't know what kind of pull they got, but somebody doesn't want me on the internet. Every social media page that I own has been attacked over the last week. Every single one of them. I don't have any more socials other than this in the taco verse. And I don't know if they're trying to I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm speaking too much facts, but I did not get a copyright strike. As you guys are aware, Jubilee allows people to use their videos. Um I don't know from here. I really don't know. I don't know. Let's watch another video from somewhere else. Yeah, we gonna man, this is gonna be good. So we gonna man, that sucks so much. Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. I'm trying to get my bearings back because it's been kind of a tough week already, and I don't do this just for me, y'all. Let's go check in and watch this video with Mad Santa Maria.
Military, and my friend, who we're gonna name Jezebel, was also in the military.
You guys already know if somebody calls somebody Jezebel, this is about to be a spicy story.
And she was also married to a service member. So here's the picture: me, military spouse, my husband, who was in the military, Jezebel, who was also in the military, and then Jezebel's husband, who was also in the military. So Jezebel and I became friends because we had so much in common. We had all the same classes. We lived in the same military base. We went to the same gym. We liked the same things. We used to always go shopping, out to eat. And I just honestly thought she was a great friend. Now, we were opposites in other areas. For example, I was a hardcore introvert and Jezebel was an extrovert. Jezebel was the life of the party, the girl that wanted to be all out there. She always wanted to go clubbing every weekend and drink until she got wasted. And for the majority of my life, I've always been the opposite. I'm someone who enjoys being a homebody. I also don't enjoy drinking because the taste of alcohol tastes weird to me. So I've never been a drinker, never been a smoker, never been a anything, but because going out clubbing and dancing and drinking made Jezebel happy, I would sometimes go with her because I do enjoy dancing, and because I never drank, I will be her designated driver. I will make sure she got home safe, and I would also make sure that Jezebel wasn't getting herself in trouble because, again, she was a service member in the military, and like I said, she was very extroverted, especially when she drank. It's like that liquid courage will build up in her system and give her the audacity. Also, when Jezebel and I would go out clubbing, it was always a girls' night, so husbands were not invited. And many times during these outings, Jezebel would drink until she was intoxicated and then try to go up to men and ask them for their number. And I would always stop her. I would always intervene. If she was going up to a man, I'm like, girl, come here. I would drag her back to the group because every time she drank, she would just be out of control. So I attributed that behavior to the alcohol. I just thought that her drinking made her like that because, again, I was not a drinker myself. But nonetheless, every time she tried to do something she wasn't supposed to be doing, I would be right there stopping it, or somebody else would intervene because Jezebel was married. And because this was a military town, a lot of those men at the club were also married. I would also always try to keep Jezebel dancing with just us, the girls. But Jezebel always wanted to go and pull a random man to dance with her. And every time she pulled a man to dance with, I wouldn't intervene because she had previously told me that her husband didn't mind her dancing with other men. And I would just be like, yeah, my husband wouldn't like that. But if that's how y'all handle y'all's marriage, we gonna respect that, okay? Now, if she was to go up to a man and ask him for his number or try to do something weird, I would definitely step in and be like, girl, you are way too wasted. We're going home. These were just some of the experiences that I had with her when we would go clubbing. Also, let me say something very important. Aside from that, Jezebel and her husband appeared to be a happy couple. Her husband seemed like he was very much in love with her. He treated her very well. He spoiled her. He's the type of man that would never tell Jezebel no. Jezebel always got her way. Jezebel always got what she wanted. And more importantly, he seemed like a good man, like a good husband. And they both seemed like they were very in love with each other. But as we know, in life, not everything is what it seems. And sometimes people really do paint the perfect picture. And behind closed doors, it's a whole different story. Also, I did want to mention that Jezebel was a very pretty girl, very attractive. She was a baddie. And I would honestly say that in the friend group, we were all baddies. Like, we were all baddies. But out of everyone in the group, I will say that Jezebel was that girl. She stood out. Jezebel was just beautiful naturally. She also had this very bubbly personality. She would make anybody laugh. Like I said, very extroverted. And more importantly, Jezebel knew that she was hot. Jezebel knew that she could get attention if she wanted it. However, I didn't pick up on any of her red flag behaviors until later on. Like this day at the mall where she saw that guy that she mentioned was really attractive. She turns around and tells me, girl, look at him. He's so hot. If I was single, I will go up to him and ask him for his number. And I just sat there and looked at her like, girl, you can't think like that. You're married. And then she says, girl, it's just a hypothetical.
I gotta ask, do single people think that way? Like, oh, if I'm not married, if I wasn't married, this is what I would do. If I wasn't married. Do single people think like that, y'all? Y'all tell me. I mean, do married people think like that?
I'm not being serious, but if hypothetically speaking, I was single, I will go up to him and get his number because he's so cute. And I would always respond with like, girl, you're crazy. And I could never relate to that because for me, when I'm in love with a man, I have no eyes for any other man. Like, I don't care how hot you think another man is in the room. To me, my man is the best looking man in the world. I have no eyes for another man. And I've always been like that. I'm like the obsessive, crazy in love type of girl. Like, I'm a lover girl. I don't see other men. Does that make sense? So when I was with my ex-husband, the only man that I found attractive was the man I was with. Jezebel definitely had wandering eyes. And if Jezebel found a man attractive, she's going to tell you, you're going to hear about it. She's going to make you look. And she's going to tell you everything she wishes she could do to him. However, I will always shut it down and advise her to stop thinking like that. Like, you should be obsessed with your husband. Focus that energy into your husband. And this advice would always go into one ear and out the other. As time went by, Jezebel continued to have wandering eyes. But then she started taking things to another level. Like, now she started noticing men that she found attractive and then going up to them. So there was one time where Jezebel and I were leaving a class and she saw a guy that she thought was very attractive. She would always say something like, oh my God, girl, he's so hot. Or look at him. Oh my gosh. And I would be like, okay, girl, calm down. And then she said, I'm going to go up to him and say hi. What? She was like, yeah, I'm going to go up to him and say hi. And I was like, no, girl, do not do that. You are married. And most of the people at that school were also married because a lot of them were service members. Just don't do that. Do not do that. And of course, Jezebel didn't listen to me. And she went up to that man and she got his number.
So, okay. So what y'all telling me is, y'all are telling me that when y'all with somebody, and I will hold everybody accountable. When y'all are telling me that y'all are with somebody, you don't see what other men look like. They don't even exist. Remember, y'all, we have long memories here. Y'all are telling me that other people don't exist when you are in a relationship. This is what I've been told. This is what I've been sold now. That's what's going on. Yeah, please run up my likes after all that. If you guys can reshare the new stream on social media, that would be great since I can't. She says, okay, I'm saying I don't desire other men. Okay, that's a much, much better statement to make. Much better statement to make. You don't want anyone else when you have somebody. That is noble. That is noble. Extremely.
Mm-hmm. She was all giddy and happy and smiling like, I got his number. And I just looked at her and said, delete it. Delete it right now or I'm going to tell your husband. And then she says, I was just playing.
She said, I'm going to tell your husband if... Now, see, here's the thing. So this is a double-edged sword once again. So she's being a good friend, but her friend don't want her to be. Her friend want her to be a different type of good friend. Now I got to ask the question: what type of friends do y'all have? Do y'all have the type of friends that are going to be cool with you going outside of your relationship? Do you have the type of friends that are going to be cool with you cheating and getting numbers and y'all going out and having girls' night? And this is why guys don't like girls going on girls' night. This is why. I'm gonna tell you straight up. This is the reason why guys don't like girls going on girls' night. It's because some of the women that are quote unquote locked down in relationships feel like girls' night is a time where they get to go have a good time with somebody else. Another pole, another mule, as Howlin' Wolf used to say. If y'all don't know who Howlin' Wolf is, go check out some of Howlin' Wolf's blues on the internet. His name is Howlin' Wolf. There's a song called Another Mule. I would play that song for y'all, but I have enough problems on the internet, as we've already seen. So I'm not gonna do that. But Howlin' Wolf was a really good friend of my grandfather's, and he made some really good music, some good blues. If you like blues and you like jazz, go listen to some Howlin' Wolf, y'all. Another mule was kicking in your stall. That's how that song went. But that's why guys don't like girls' night. Girls' night usually comes up with stuff like this.
I just wanted to see if I could get his number. I wanted to see if I still got it like that. I'm going to delete the number. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. My dog was barking because he needed to go outside. He is now outside in the backyard. Okay, so back to the story. This is the time where I started to see some serious red flags. And I will constantly ask Jezebel if there was anything going on in her marriage. Had her husband cheated on her before? And she would always say, no, my husband had never cheated on me. He's the best. He's amazing. He's the most amazing man in the world. So why was Jezebel constantly seeking attention from other men? I don't know. And unfortunately, things got worse. So fast forward to a couple months later, Jezebel and I found out that our husbands are getting deployed overseas to Afghanistan for 9 months. And even though Jezebel was in the military, she was not going on that deployment because she was not part of that unit. When I got the news that a deployment was coming up, I was very sad, very upset, very depressy. Because who wants to be away from their husband, you know? Especially for 9 months. On the other hand, I never saw Jezebel sad or stressed or upset about the fact that her husband was leaving for 9 months. Jezebel would always be like, oh, it's going to go by fast. It's okay. They're going to be okay. They're going to come by before.
She was having a good time while he was deployed.
We know it. And I attributed Jezebel being so nonchalant to the fact that she herself was in the military. So she was used to this. I always thought like she's in the military, so she's used to it. That's why she's not as emotional as I am. Or maybe she's just mentally stronger. I don't know. But she was never sad. Like I remember the day we had to say goodbye to our husbands. We went to drop them off and Jezebel didn't even cry. But I was bawling my eyes out. I was like, oh, I'm going to miss you. So our husbands get deployed, and this is where things start to take a turn for the worse. I'm going to have to do a part 2 because I'm at 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Story time.
Hey, we're going to have to go find out part 2. We're going. We're going. This is Mad Santana. She has a ton of followers, as you guys can see. I'm afraid to click this, but I'm not going to click it. Let's see. Where is that story time at?
10 cosas que no permito que mis hijos hagan porque
she told it in Spanish. A lot of y'all are not Spanish speakers, so I'm not going to play that one. Let's see if we can find part 2. Man, she's one of those people. She does lots of videos. Is this part 1 or 2?
Story time on how my best friend cheated on her husband and wrecked not 1, not 2, but 3 marriages. Therefore, I stopped being friends with her and cut her off. This is part 2. If you want to see part 1, click on the comment right here. And now that our husbands are gone, things start getting very interesting with Jezebel. She invited me on a girls' night out to the casino. For this specific outing, Jezebel told me that it was going to be a group of female coworkers and myself. The night of the event, Jezebel comes to pick me up. And as I'm getting in the car, I notice that there's a man in the car. As I'm introducing myself to all these people, Jezebel tells me that that man is her coworker. And I said, I thought it was supposed to be a girls' night. And I think I ruined the mood by saying that because the car was silent. So then we get to the casino and we had the best time. It was so much fun. And of course, everyone was drinking except me. So I drove everyone home. By this time, it's 2 a.m. and I noticed that the female coworkers fell asleep, except for Jezebel and the man. As I'm driving and looking at the rearview mirror, I could see Jezebel leaning her head on that man's shoulder like this. I could also see like their arms touching and them just like giggling and laughing. And I'm just like, Then I drop off the other female coworkers who had given me their addresses. And now it's just me, Jezebel, and the man. So I ask him, what's your address so I can drop you off? And immediately Jezebel says she's going to drop me off first and that she was going to drop off the man herself. She explained how they lived closer to each other because the man lived on base and how my house was way out of the way. And I pretty much just said, okay. After that, I don't hear from Jezebel for about 2 days. And then she comes to visit me and tells me that she slept with that man that night. I was very surprised to hear this from Jezebel. I never thought she would do something like that. So I asked the golden question. Jezebel, is that man married or in a relationship? And then Jezebel says, yes, he is. He's married. He has a wife and 2 children. I was so freaking mad at this girl. Like, I questioned so much why she did this. How could you? He has a wife. His wife has a right to know. How would you feel if it was you? But of course, Jezebel doesn't have empathy. And she says, don't worry, his wife is never going to find out. She's never going to know because we did it at my house. And then I said, what about your husband, Jezebel? Your husband loves you so much. Like, oh, literally, I said so much. I'm going to spare you the details of that long conversation. Towards the end of the conversation, I said this to her. I said, friend, I cannot support or encourage this because all I can think about is your husband and then that other wife. You're literally destroying 2 families. Now tell me this, Jezebel, is this an affair that you're planning to continue? And she says, I really want to see where things go. I really like him. His wife doesn't have to know. My husband doesn't have to know. I really don't.
All right. So what she did was she made her an accomplice. She said she had the Jody blues. Roxy said Jezebel wasn't a real friend to Mads and her true self in their friendship. No, she was making her an accomplice. So the first thing she can say is, well, Mads knew about it. Maddie knew. I told Maddie what was going on. Maddie saw him. Maddie didn't stop nothing. She needed an accomplice. She's not her friend. She's her accomplice. She tried to get her involved with her debauchery a lot earlier, but she didn't want to be complicit in her actions. And I don't blame her for not wanting to be complicit in her actions. Who would want that? Seriously, who would want that? Who would want somebody to be complicit in that? I wouldn't want to be. Not at all. It's strange to me that this is what we've come down to. It's strange to me that this is what is happening. It's just this is strange. Okay, so now we're gonna continue with the episode.
Want to cut him off. And at this point, she's crying. So I said, well, you got 2 options. You either cut this shit off or I'm going to tell your husband and I'm going to tell his wife because they have a right to know. And then at that moment, she agreed to cut it off. I saw her send a text message where she goes into detail about why they shouldn't be together and that if they continued the affair, I was going to tell his wife and Jezebel's husband. And I'm not going to lie, I felt an immense amount of guilt knowing this information.
So do y'all think that Mads was not minding her own business? Or you think that she was just being a good friend? You think she was just not minding her own business? Exactly. Was it her place to tell? I mean, if you made me an accomplice, then it's up to me on whether I want to tell her, right? Should never made me an accomplice. You would have kept your little cheating self private. Nobody would have knew about this. But she had to brag that she was getting some side D. She had to. That's what that came down to. She had to let somebody know that she was doing this.
Information. I didn't know if I should have found my way to figure out who his wife was and then tell her because I'm someone who believes that everyone has a right to know that they're being cheated on no matter the situation. And yes, eventually all of these people did find out that their spouses cheated on them, just not at this specific timeline in the story. So during this time, I'm really disappointed in my friend. I really feel like I don't know who she is anymore. There was also a part of me who no longer wanted to associate with her, but I loved her so much. And maybe I could help her. Maybe I could teach her. Maybe she could turn this whole thing around. Maybe we could start going to church. Maybe, I guess that's just the fixer-upper in me, honestly. I used to be the kind of person that always wanted to go out of my way to fix broken people until I grew up. My frontal lobe developed, and then I learned that that wasn't my job. That is a journey they have to navigate on their own. But let's continue with the story because you're not going to believe how much worse it gets. So more time goes by, and I'm still friends with Jezebel. Jezebel's still my best friend at this time, but I also start making other friends who are military spouses until one day, one of my friends invites me to a barbecue at her house. She also
Once again, going to somebody else's house, being in their business. I want y'all to take those notes. Going to somebody else's house, being in their business.
Also tells me that I could bring any other girlfriends that I have because my friend wanted to make new friends. Let's call her Lizzie. So Jezebel and I show up to Lizzie's house, and Lizzie introduces us to her other friends who are there and her husband and her children. After the barbecue was over, Jezebel and I went home and life went on until I get a phone call from my friend Lizzie. And Lizzie is crying on the phone telling me how she's going through a divorce because she found out that her husband was having an affair with a female coworker. For some context, Lizzie's husband is in the military. Lizzie is crying. She's devastated. She found out that her husband has been having this affair for weeks. But my friend Lizzie didn't know the girl's name. She only had the last name. Because when Lizzie went through her husband's phone, he has saved the contact information as the girl's last name, which is very common in the military. People address each other by their last name. And when Lizzie tells me the last name, I literally fall out of my chair because that last name, even though it was common, also matched Jezebel's last name. But Lizzie didn't know Jezebel's last name. Remember, Lizzie and Jezebel met each other at the barbecue, but there was never an exchange of last names. So when I hear her say that last name, I'm literally panicking inside. I'm literally freaking out because if you remember, I was the one who introduced Jezebel to Lizzie and her husband. But let's not get ahead of ourselves because maybe it's not that Jezebel. Maybe there's another Jezebel. And after I was done with that conversation, I called Jezebel. I said, please be honest. Is this the man you're with? Is that you? And Jezebel said, no, it's not me. She denied ever being with that man. And I don't know why, but a part of me didn't believe her. Like in my gut, I just felt like something was off about Jezebel. So I did some more digging. I'm at 9 minutes and 24 seconds. I'm going to have to do a part 3. I'm so sorry. Story time on how my best friend cheated on her husband.
We're going to go to part 3. We got to get to the bottom of this, y'all. Where is part 3 on her playlist of things?
Story time on how my best friend cheated on her husband and destroyed not one, not.
I'm obsessed with.
Story time on how I started my GLP-1 journey in.
I guess look, where we going? We might not get part 3, y'all, but let's hope we do. Is this one pinned?
No permito que mis hijos hagan porque yo.
Nope, it's in Spanish, and she got 10 million views on that one. Is this part 3?
Fui una investigadora para el departamento.
Not in English. Sorry to my Spanish speakers, y'all. We're not forgetting about y'all. We just doing this.
I started my GLP-1 journey in.
Maybe we're not gonna get part 3 from her. Maybe it's not in here. Maybe she didn't do a part 3. Maybe they told her to stop.
Story time how my best friend cheated on her husband and wrecked not one, not.
This is part 2.
Story time on how my best friend cheated on her husband and destroyed not one, not 2, but 3 marriages. This is going to be part 3. If you want to see parts 1 and 2,
part 3, y'all.
Right here. At this point, I don't believe anything that Jezebel is saying. So I do a little bit of digging and I ask Liz to give me the phone number of the girl that she found on her husband's phone. When Liz sends me the number, it matches Jezebel's phone number. And baby, I crashed out. I literally cried so hard because I could not believe that the girl I introduced to my friend was sleeping with her husband. So immediately I call another friend who works with Jezebel. They're co-workers. They're both in the military. And I just wanted to talk to her before I confront Jezebel because I wanted to educate myself on how the military will handle the situation. So I call Jezebel and I confront her with all the information that I have. I tell her that I know everything. I cuss her out. She starts crying and begging me not to say anything to anybody. She tells me that she's in love with Lizzie's husband. She tells me that she didn't know that this one night stand would have led to her being in love. She tells me that she is going to be with him. She also tells me that there's nothing anyone can do to separate them. She didn't care that he had a newborn baby. She didn't care that he had a wife and another child. She didn't care about nothing. Also, that man had another baby mama that he cheated on before he got with Liz, but that's the man Jezebel wanted. Jezebel was willing to throw away her career, that man's career, divorce her husband, wrecked all these marriages, all for a piece of. So I told her that I was going to hand all of this information that I gathered to Liz so that Liz can report everything to the chain of command. I also told Jezebel that I will be telling her husband everything that she has done behind his back because he had a right to know. And at that point, Jezebel expressed that she did not care because she was going to divorce him to be with Liz's husband. Liz ended up leaving the military base, leaving the marital home, and she moved her and her children to her parents' house in another state. Her parents hired a divorce attorney and helped her throughout that process. And at this time, I gave Jezebel two options. Either you tell your husband everything you have done and are doing, or I will. Jezebel ended up telling her husband everything. And from what I know, Jezebel's husband was so heartbroken and destroyed. He kept begging Jezebel to get back with him. It's like he couldn't get over her. He couldn't let her go. He begged and begged. He called me to try to talk to her. He tried everything. He was sent flowers. He was just, as all of this was going on, I saw Jezebel become a person I no longer knew nor wanted to associate with anymore. She still wanted to be friends with me, but I told her that that was not something I could offer. And the only reason why I continue to be involved with her was because I was still helping Liz get some evidence and then Jezebel's husband. Also, if I may add, Jezebel is a very spiteful and petty person when she gets mad. As Jezebel and her husband were going through the divorce, there was a car that Jezebel's husband had bought before he met Jezebel, before he married her. Therefore, that car was not considered a marital asset. And Jezebel's husband wanted to keep his car. Well, Jezebel didn't like that. So one day, Jezebel trashed the car. She spray painted the car, ripped the seats, and did a bunch of just trashed the car. She also completely destroyed his credit and maxed out all of his credit cards. And she also destroyed all of her husband's gear and military uniforms that he had left at their marital home. And if you know anything about military gear and uniforms, they are very, very expensive. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of dollars. Once the deployment was over, Jezebel and her husband were finally able to get divorced and go their separate ways because Jezebel's husband was so heartbroken and just destroyed. He ended up developing an addiction. And because of that, he was kicked out of the military. This was an individual that had served in the military for 12 years. His goal was to retire from the military and complete a 20-year career, and he was dishonorably discharged. This situation broke him so much, he couldn't handle it mentally. Now, let's go back to Jezebel. Liz ended up reporting everything to Jezebel's and her husband's chain of command because these two individuals.
So in the military, I don't know if y'all know about this, but in the military, especially if y'all are living on base and they catch y'all cheating, they have legal action against you. Conversation with Soft Rain says, I feel for some soldiers who marry these kinds of chicks. They go across the world in combat and risk their lives and come home to Nathan. Yeah, they don't deserve that. No, they don't.
Were in two different units. And the only thing the chain of command did was demote Lacey's husband. That means they lowered his rank by 1 rank. And that also means that his paycheck went down by a little bit. During this time, Lacey's husband and Jezebel ended up moving in together. They decided to go public with their relationship. They started posting pictures and videos on Facebook and Instagram. They got engaged. They were announcing that after both of their divorce processes were finalized, they were going to get married. And during this time, I am no longer friends with Jezebel. I cut her off completely, but I'm still able to know about what goes on with Jezebel because we had mutual friends. So they were always telling me the tea about everything that was going on with Jezebel. And let me just say this, that relationship that Jezebel built on the pain and suffering of another woman did not prosper. Behind closed doors, Jezebel and Lizzie's husband were constantly fighting. Allegedly, Lizzie's husband put hands on Jezebel, and then Jezebel put hands on him. So they both got a DV case. And here's the thing about military drama. Anytime you have a case like CPS or DV, DWI, like whatever messy case you got going on, your unit's going to know about it. Everybody's going to know the tea. And also, these mutual friends that were constantly telling me the tea about Jezebel, They were no longer friends with her. They were just her coworkers. They cut her off too. Like we all cut her off. So now Jezebel's taking L's left and right. She lost her husband, who was a good man. She lost all her friends. Everyone in her unit is looking down on her and looking at her like the HOE that she is. And she got herself a crazy man who resented her because he lost his rank. There was also more drama between Liz and her ex-husband and Jezebel because Liz didn't want to co-parent with these people. Liz didn't want her children to go visit their dad because Jezebel was there. And while I know that legally Liz had to comply and let the kids go to that home, there was a lot of drama, a lot of co-parenting drama. So Jezebel and the guy were dealing with all that. After a few months go by, everyone's divorce is finalized. Therefore, Jezebel and Lizzie's ex-husband get married. And again, they're posting their happy pictures all over Instagram, all over Facebook, and talking about haters. All of these haters couldn't stop us from being together. The world may be against us, but we still thrive. Also, she thought, because at the end of the day, if you try to build a home on the pain and suffering of another woman, it's only a matter of time before it crumbles. After they got married, they both got transferred to another military base. They were both still in the military. And I'm sure they felt like going to this new military base where nobody knows them was their big, fresh start. But the thing about a Jezebel is that she will always be a Jezebel. I'm at 9 minutes, so I'm running out of time. I'm going to do a part 4 with the final part, letting you know how karma mopped the floor with these people. Every time I tell this story, I realize that I still feel guilt.
Okay.
Till this day, I feel guilt. I don't know, like, I know it's been so many years, but like, story time on how my best friend cheated on her husband and destroyed not one, not two, but 3 marriages. This is part 4 and the final part. If you want to see
we
parts
gotta
1,
finish the
2, and
story,
3,
y'all.
just click on the comment right here. As you guys know, Jezebel slept with my friend's husband. They ended up divorced, and Jezebel married him. They got stationed at a different military base. And after destroying so many innocent people's lives, they thought they were just going to ride into the sunset and life was going to be great and merry for them. But as you guys know, life is like a restaurant. At the end of your dinner, you will be handed the bill. After Jezebel and her new husband got to the military base, they started having a lot more problems. And the fact that Jezebel and this new husband were so dysfunctional helped Liz, the ex-wife, get a court order to be able to stop the children from going to that home because it was no longer a safe environment for them. Eventually, Jezebel found out that her new husband was cheating on her and he got another girl pregnant. And Jezebel completely lost her mind to the point that she destroyed a lot of the marital possessions in their home. She also destroyed all of his military gear and uniforms like she did to her ex-husband. Because of all of this drama, Jezebel and her husband's chain of command got involved. They had to be separated for like a cooling period. So now they were back in the home together. There was another big DV situation that happened where they both were putting hands on each other. But this time it was more severe to the point that Jezebel was dishonorably discharged from the military. She was kicked out. And then that new husband of hers tested positive for some substance that is illegal, and he was also dishonorably discharged. They ended up divorced, and Jezebel ended up moving in with her parents. And that's the last time I heard about Jezebel or any of the drama that goes on with her. And let me just say this. I was reading through the comments and people were saying a lot of crazy things. Like, why will you snitch? You're a bad friend. You were supposed to support her. First and foremost, I would never support anyone cheating on anyone. I don't care if you're my friend. I don't care if you're my sister. I don't care if you're my mom. Don't do that. Not only because I myself have been cheated on, so I know the amount of trauma and damage that does to somebody's psyche and the level of destruction that cheating causes to the victims and children is completely unacceptable. So you're right. We cannot be friends if you are a cheater, because if you are able to cheat on the person that you claim to love the most in this world and destroy their mental health over a piece of, then God knows what you would do to me. The second thing that I brought up was that I painted myself as a good girl or as perfect. And then someone said, what if someone opened your files? What if someone said the things you have done? And let me just say this.
Whoa. I'm reading this. She said, my husband cheated with his coworker in that same deployment. Dang. They all just cheating. She the only one that's not cheating. All right.
I keep my side of the street clean. You wouldn't know what I mean. I am far from perfect. I am a human like you and everyone we know. I have made mistakes, but I have never in my life done some crazy shit like this, and I never will. I have never cheated on any of my partners. I have morals. I have values. And like I said before, I have been cheated on many times. I do not think I'm better than anybody. And when I said that I was an introvert and I wasn't really into partying and drinking, that is me telling you about my personality and how me and this ex friend were different. And different doesn't mean better, different means different. It is okay for people to like different things. I never judged her for that. I never made her feel like if I was better than her. I always try to advise her because I really cared about her and her career and I wanted her to thrive and do well in life. She was my friend. That was until I saw how destructive and reckless and careless and how much empathy she lacked for other people and children. And then all that shit went out the window. Now I don't like you. Now I don't care. And while I do not consider myself someone who is holier than thou or a saint, I do have a moral compass. That was not me painting myself as a good person. That is me explaining my
Okay.
character and personality to you. Now, if you perceive the things I said about me as me being a good person, then your perception is not wrong. And while this story was 10 years ago, we were all in our early 20s, our frontal lobes were not fully developed. Looking back, there were definitely some red flags that I missed because
Don't make
during
no
that time,
excuses.
I used to always try to see the best in people, even when their behaviors contradicted that. But now that I'm in my 30s, after so many lived experiences and so much education, I can say that I know a thing or two about a thing or two. I live a very peaceful life. I have a very healthy marriage. I don't have any drama or problems in my life. My life is pretty peaceful. I don't associate with people who display certain behavior patterns. I don't have messy friends. I don't have crazy friends. That's why I don't have any recent story times. All of my story times are from like 10 years ago. With that being said, please don't cheat on your spouses or your significant other. You can easily just break up with them, do things the right way, and then go right onto the sunset with whoever you want. Story time on.
So this comment section is interesting. She said my husband cheated with his coworker in that same deployment. And then this girl, you was catching strays. Sorry to hear that. She said, yeah. So it's a lot going on there. And man, that's rough. All of them were cheating except for her. So everybody in this whole little area, all these military folks was cheating, but she wasn't. She got cheated on by her husband, but she stayed. And they've been together now for the last 10 years and they've been good. She said, "Don't nobody cheat," but she don't like cheaters because she also got cheated on. I would think that would probably prompt the reason for this story. All right, guys, it's that time of day. Y'all have seen what's happened to me today and what's been happening to me over the last couple of weeks. So give me some questions. It's time for chat Q&A. What y'all got for your boy Tez on this Tez Down evening? While we talk about this, we're gonna go ahead and let you guys know to follow the coalition. Make sure you give the coalition a follow. That is everybody that you see listed right here. That is the Raw Society Coalition on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. The Classic Codes, Souls of Thought, Uncle Plug TV, Conversations with Soft Rain. Had an excellent show last night that she put together on the Conversations with Soft Rain channel. If you guys needed to know, I did appear on that show last night. I did. And you're right here, right now, with the Tez Down. That's where you're at, guys. So, without further ado, if you guys can do me a favor and either give me a question of the day, if not, we just gonna rock out before we end the show today. While I'm waiting for question of the day, we will play some music from our featured artist that is gonna be on at the show that we are doing on February 13th in Darien, Illinois. There is gonna be security for those of you that are watching. Wow, should have cut off Jazz earlier. Yeah, she should have cut her off way earlier. Um, Me too. um, if you for those of you guys that don't know, um, B Class is our very own the Classic Codes, and he is a music artist, a musician, rapper that puts out music, and I've been using his music lately as a part of my intro and we're gonna play it. If you guys don't have any questions for me, I'm checking the comments. If you guys don't even have any of the questions for me, we're just gonna go straight into playing some B class and listening to the musical stylings of the artist known as B class, aka the classic codes. Where do I want to go with this one today? I think we want to play my jam, which is Not For Real.
I seen people be so fickle, nothing surprised me. Double-edged sword thing, consider how you looking at everybody sideways. Shit. Look around, don't know who to trust, not for real. Lately I've been paranoid, I gotta chill. Ask me how I feel, think I'ma tell you not for real. But I grind like I'm still unfulfilled. Ain't satisfied till I touch a certain M's. Can't say the number, they applied against my plans. I'm turning up, dog, this one for the gym. Come to these bars, I only play above the rim. Boy, I'm Thomas Shepard. Long sleeve with the corduroys. Really came to get buckets. Purnell with the defense. Too slick, you can't touch me. Bud Crawford on offense. I'm unassuming, but I'm really punching. Underrated, I'm starting to love it. Stacking days, I'm stacking the budget. When I win, ain't none of it lucky. Tapped in, I got it from nothing. Stayed ready, preheated the oven, just did a theater. I'm still a recovery. Therapy team, they really love me. They'd kill me if they knew I was chump. High speed chase, I had to punch it in front of thousands. I started with hundreds. Don't really see no competition. This look like a luncheon. Suggest you let me mind my business, catch you if you lunging. They love you all these years, but at the end you wasn't nothing. Look around, don't know who to trust, not for real. Lately I've been paranoid, I gotta chill. Ask me how I feel, think I'ma tell you not for real. But I grind like I'm still unfulfilled. Present with poise, but I really got no chill. Far as blood, it ain't too thick to get spilled. They think I'm too cool to click, not for real. God ain't done with me yet, dog, I gotta heal. I ain't no run of the mill. Had to surround myself with steel. Yeah, I've been sharpening steel. Hard to feel hard feelings at all when I can hardly feel. Hard as hell counting losses till you count the wins. If I could take the pain all over, swear I'd do it again. The way them hard times unlock me, look different, twin. If you don't understand my plight, then we just different men. If you can't understand my fight, then we got different hands. Yeah, different song. I'm talking about different days. I'm talking about different tribes. I'm talking about different clans. Boy, I'm sticking to the coats to the bitter end. I'ma live and die by it till I'm ashes in a can. Look around, don't know who to trust, not for real. Lately I've been paranoid, I gotta chill. Ask me how I feel, think I'ma tell you not for real. But I grind like I'm still unfulfilled.
Make sure you guys head over to SoundCloud and the Classic Codes. And if you want to hear the whole Sebastian tape that just came out, you can go check it over there. There's a lot of good songs on there. You know, as you can see, he's got it on there. You got Aura Farming, which I love Aura Farm. I play a little bit of that.
Last minute shopping? Been there. Luckily, there's still a little time to shop, and Ulta Beauty.
So, yeah, we're going to play some of that on there. As you can see, I don't pay for SoundCloud Premium. Why would I do a thing like that? Y'all try to take my SoundCloud from me too? Ha! Ha! No, we ain't gonna do that one. Yeah, we ain't doing that one. They gotta be playing ads and stuff. No. So she asked, what is your favorite color? My favorite color is a mixture of blue and purple. We call it blurple. I will accept blue. I will accept purple. Just about all shades. I like them. It's the same color spectrum, you know?
They don't like it when you got that glow. And one thing they hate worse than you having that glow is when you know you got that glow. They don't like that. They don't like that at all. So give them a reason to keep hating on it. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Aura Farming, home up in rank. Step in the room, they paid away. I get treated like a milli tank. Southpaw like I'm really tank. I do things that they pain. That type of hate don't belong on my paint. That type of hate don't belong in proximity. Lord knows I love to match energy. Won't smoke, I know the back chimney. No hope with me once you an enemy. Well trained, I break you down clinically. BTA is my ministry. Laying that belt, laying that leather. It ain't no picks, it's with whoever. Ain't gotta like us, but you gon' respect us.
Make sure you guys check out some of this music by V-Class. Thank y'all for coming in today. I'm Tez. I'm 24. This has been 24 with Cortez. This is the Tez Down. Y'all have a nice rest of your day. I will see you in another 24. We got a financial episode tomorrow. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. Come on through. I got a special guest lined up for y'all. Let's rock out before we get up out of here today.
Time for you to play with my name, it's Candyman. Yeah, if you say my name, or I'm up in rank. Step in the room, they paid away. I get treated like a milli tank. Southpaw like a really tank. I do things that they really can't. Envious, cause they really ain't. I'ma win any type of way. That's a parlay you could take to the bank. Yeah,